Back to the old days. Jared and I, we're in a different room, but it's going to be good.
It's kind of like the basement. This is our Studio B.
Yeah.
And we have Steve Lyman on the other studio. He's filming some lessons for the Drumeo method, some of the jazz curriculum.
That's right.
So we get to hang out in this room.
I like this room. It's nice and big. You know,
The bass drum sounds so good.
Oh, I know. The acoustics in here are great.
Yeah.
For any of you who have been to our VIP weeks, this is the VIP room.
Yeah.
So you guys would recognize it. But it's going to be fun. We're going to be hanging with you for the next 2 hours. Any questions you have about drums, about life, about Jared, about Drumeo, let us know.
Don't touch the thing.
I know. We got brand new Peisty cymbals here.
So Peisty sent me the new 602s to try out, and my goodness, they're beautiful. Do you have an overhead too?
Nice.
I do.
Show them the overhead.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out which camera it's on.
Okay, he'll figure it out. But yeah, it's got the new 602s up, which I've been wanting to try for a while. They've been here since before the Drumeo Festival, and
You've been hiding them on me.
not
If I had known
your
they were
dirty
here.
fingerprints again.
I know. I haven't washed my hands.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of like uncertainty now, and so we just thought we want to get on here. We want to just hang out. We want to talk drums. I find that every time I go online, all I'm seeing is stuff about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And this, you know, there's a lot to be nervous about, but I think there's also a lot to be thankful for. And I think this community is something that I'm super thankful for. And so I just wanted to kind of reconnect with everyone online, say hello, what's up? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all stay safe. I know that a lot of people were saying in one of my most recent posts on social, they're saying now because of this, we're all going to be isolating more.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do we have? Well, we have our kits. Our kits you don't even need power.
You don't even
to
need
play
power.
these drums.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have our drums, we have Drumeo, we have lots of great education at your fingertips, online, you don't have to go anywhere. And we have each other to communicate with. And so I think that's the cool part about, you know, if there's not really, I don't like to say silver lining, but I think we have to make the best of tough situations.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
And here we are. So let's have some fun. Let's talk drums.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live in the Drumeo's member area. I'm going to be looking at all of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to be trying to force feed Jared some questions throughout the whole thing. How about you start out with a song, Jared?
Yeah, let's start playing some songs.
Play some music. What you got for us?
I'm going to play a song called Ivory Tower.
Ooh.
And the Dave goes wild.
I'm going wild even though I can't hear, but it sounded great. It sounded like your drumming was spot on. There's lots of people here watching, and
Amazing.
I'm
Thank you all.
seeing a lot of chat saying this is exactly what we needed right now.
Yeah.
Great. That's exactly why we're doing it. You know, there's so much talk about the coronavirus right now. We just want to talk drums. I don't even want to say the word. I don't even want to say the word. Let's just focus on drumming. Here's a question from the members.
Drums are so therapeutic, man. I play drums almost every night for
Yeah.
therapy.
It's good. Yeah.
It's because you mentally drain me every day.
He needs therapy from me on the drums. I should say you're welcome, I guess, for that. Hey, Spencer. Spencer from the
What's up,
Drumeo
Spencer?
chat. Hey, he says, question for now or later? We're going to do it now. He says,
Now and later is my favorite candy.
Are they though?
Oh yeah, someone once sent me like a whole box of them.
It's like
Remember that?
tap. Oh yeah.
Yes,
You're
now
eating
and
those.
later.
You're eating those for months.
Yeah, well, not really. It didn't last that long.
Anyone ever try the 6x5 by 14, 6.5 by 14 Ludwig Centurion African? I don't know how to say this. Sapel maple drum. Have you ever tried that drum, Jared? I just got one, and I'm going to run through some different tunings today. I think it'll sound pretty good with a high and tight tuning.
Sorry, a 6.5 by what?
6.5 by 14 Ludwig Centurion African maple.
I have never tried. That's quite a very specific drum. I know.
Yeah.
I guess I could see how you think that I might know if that sounds good because we have a lot of snares here. We have a lot of drums, but I have never tried that one. But I will say this: I had one teacher. And he always brought his Ludwig snare, and he swore by Ludwig snares. He
Who's
said
that?
they were the best. This guy named Chris McAlpine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, he always swore by how great they were. And to his credit, they always sounded amazing. He had it tuned really open, no muffling with the wires kind of loose.
Yeah.
He had this nice body, super nice sound. So, yeah, amazing.
I once traded in, I had a Ludwig maple. It was so good. I loved it. But I traded in because I wanted a matching silver sparkle for my kit, and I regret it to this day. Like, that's the one thing that still irks me that I traded it in.
Right.
And from that day forward, I never sold or traded any drum gear. Okay, here's a question from Gizamek Beats. He said, hey, just curious, what are your thoughts on breaking into advanced drumming? Example, how someone currently intermediate level could break the barrier into the advanced level.
That's really tough to say because I think everyone's version of advanced is different. So a beginner who's just starting out, they know nothing, but by the time they're playing, their first 10 beats, they feel like they've gone so far in that the learning curve is quick. Now, when you define advanced drumming, you might define it based on concepts like metric modulation, polyrhythms. Maybe it's an understanding of how much you know about specific subjects. But for me, it's more like we just talked about this in a video, and where I asked everyone, what level of drummer are you? And many of the drummers would say that they are even beginner or low intermediate. And when it comes to myself, I'd say I'm good at some stuff. I would say I'm advanced at certain techniques. I'm advanced at certain rudiments, and that my knowledge of them is broad, and I feel like I can play them and orchestrate them around the kit easily. But then I'm beginner at certain things, and I can't orchestrate them around the kit. And so it really comes down to like where do you fit in your drumming, and then where do you actually want to go? And then if you look ahead and you see, okay, the music I want to play is heavy metal, so that means I need to get really, really good at playing blast beats at a fast tempo. And so advanced for you would be playing 16th note blast beats on the bass drum at 220 beats per minute for 1 minute straight without fatiguing, right? Because that's what a lot of those metal guys do. That's advanced. But for me, I have no desire to play that type of music, so that is not going to be something I even ever entertain, at least for the foreseeable future, and I work on other things.
Right.
So it's a really tough question to answer.
It's such a hard question. Even when we're doing our lessons, it's like, what level of lesson was this? Well, if you're a jazz drummer, it might be a 4, but if you're a rock drummer, it might be, this is so hard. Just keep pushing yourself. That's the thing. There is no breaking that barrier. Now I'm advanced. What does that even mean?
Right.
Just have fun doing it. Here's a great question from Scotty Aldrich, our man.
Scotty.
Scotty is a pilot.
Yeah.
And he says he's at home now because a lot of his flights have been canceled. So
he flies for
Delta.
Delta,
Yeah. And we actually booked Delta when we went to South Africa, and we actually went on one of the flight paths that he does.
Right.
But it wasn't with, anyway. He asks, who has more snare drums, Drumeo or Aaron Egger?
That's a good question. I think Aaron has a lot, but he's kind of pinholed into sonar, whereas we have something of everything.
Yeah, he has Snaria 51, he calls it, which is his wall of snares.
51 snares?
No, I think he's got like 57 now. And we have, you know what? I think we might have more than him.
I think we have more.
think we
But
have
that's
more.
like, it's not a competition. It's like all of Drumeo against one.
Oh, no, it's exactly a
is,
competition. It's a competition.
Yeah.
And he'll send me a text with a picture. Here's my newest snare. He has a 20-inch snare.
20.
It's like a pancake snare.
Is that from A&F?
I think it's from A&F.
A&F makes a really cool 20-inch snare drum, or big snare drum.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here, get some more questions here. This one's from the YouTube chat.
Nice. What's up, YouTube?
This is from, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, Divyam. Divyam.
Just let that be a disclaimer for everyone's name you attempt
From
to
now on,
pronounce.
no blaming me, okay? Here we go. Divyam says, hey guys, what do you think about the new up and coming talents from small countries like India? And what do you think will propel drumming knowledge even further in the smaller countries?
Oh, it's gonna be huge. I don't know if it's related to the economy or something, but when I was in Singapore last year, I was judging a drum-off competition, and drummers from Indonesia were just phenomenal. And it was multiple drummers, and they are all being taught by this one teacher. And they're literally like 11-year-old kids playing Weckl tracks, and it sounded incredible. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more talent come out of there, because the barrier to entry to creating videos, to distributing the videos through social media is going to get easier and easier as internet becomes better globally. And so you'll start being exposed to many more people, and it is a worldwide market or worldwide industry now. And so that's kind of how we think of it. And so I'm really excited, because we see a lot of great players coming out of Southeast Asia and different places where maybe they wouldn't have ever had the opportunities they have now. And I hope to hopefully work with more of them in the coming years.
Just a note, Jared and I just did a couple clinics in South Africa, and one of them in Johannesburg, there was this 12-year-old kid, his name was Dominic.
Yeah.
He
11, I think, or is it 12?
12. He schooled us. We did a jam at the end.
Yeah.
It was Jared, me, and this 12-year-old, and we're trading solos. And the guy had chops for days, and I'm just like feeling super inadequate. I'm like, they flew me to South Africa to do this, but it's crazy how good some of these young kids are doing.
Totally.
Question from Musam NG in the Drumeo chat says, hey, what snare are you using right now?
Okay, this was one that I think this is the original Drumeo and Danette collaboration snare that we did. This is a 6.5 by 13-inch titanium snare drum. We actually listed the snare drum for sale. We sold actually the prototype version, right? Because we left the website up too long, we didn't close it. And then by chance, one of the students who bought this, he said he's quitting drums, he's not playing anymore, do you want to buy the snare back? And so we actually bought this snare back.
Yeah, I thought, okay, I can convince him to stick with the drums, or I can convince him to give up drums so we can have our snare back. So it was
Seriously.
No, I'm just joking.
So let me play it for you. It's a G1 on it, coated with one drum tack. So I think it's Taylor's favorite snare. By far. I tried to give it away once in a live stream.
There's no way we would have
everyone's like, no, you can't do that, because occasionally we'll do that in live streams, but.
It's one of my favorite snares as well. My goodness, there's a lot of great questions here. I'm going to just randomly pick one.
I'm going to open it up here so I can see it.
You can open it up, okay. Here we go. Here's one from Ishan. Dave says, hey guys, I have a question. When playing live, What percentage of drummers use click tracks? And when you have a click track, are you still supposed to be counting internally?
When you play with a click live, it's got to be something that the whole band is aware of, because unless you're willing to just like, if someone starts an intro to a song, you would either have to count them in and then kind of give them time throughout it, or you'll have to hit and start the metronome right before you're like one bar before you can come in, and then you kind of set the tempo or reset the tempo when you're actually starting the song. Now, personally, I prefer not to do that because it adds too much, depending on the gig, it adds too much complexity, but a lot of bands, they play with tracks. And so in that case, the song is the song. There's no improvisation. It's whatever the track is doing, you are all following the track, and then there's metronome in there as well. If you have trouble with timing, I would recommend doing it, especially in like a lot of cover bands. You'll go from this song, which is slow, to like a much, much faster song or a much, much slower song. And it's really easy for all of your tunes to become a very similar tempo when you need to actually have those tempo differentiations if people are dancing to the music, because you want faster and slower and just kind of different stuff. So I would learn how to do it if you want to be a gigging drummer. I can do it. Dave, you've played with click lots live.
Yeah, I've had to play with click whenever I use tracks.
Are you doing it with the AC/DC band?
No.
You're not doing
No,
really?
Hell's Bells I am, because I'm triggering the bell. Ding.
Right.
But other than that, no. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll have a reference, so I'll have my metronome there. Before we start a song, I'll click it so I can hear.
Right.
And then I'm not starting it too fast or too slow. But whenever I
Right.
use tracks in live, it was, or
music
click it
is you
live, it
want
was only
faster
when
and
I was
slower
using
and
tracks.
yeah.
Just a heads up to all you guys on YouTube, if you're a Drumeo Edge member and you're on YouTube, head over to Edge, because it's a way cleaner chat going on in there, and I'm answering the question or asking the questions from the Drumeo chat first,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to YouTube. But here's one more before you play a song, Jared. This is a two-part question, okay? This is from Muzam. He says, oh, Jared, when you did a clinic in Johannesburg, I noticed one distinct thing when Jared played, okay?
Oh,
So he was at the actual...
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, where's the question? Muzam? I started reading it, and that's where it left.
Well, I'll play a song, and Muzam
Okay.
can...
Muzam, we're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Your
So
two-part question.
the turnout in the clinics in South Africa was incredible. I always tell people, it's like, I can't believe I live in Abbotsford, or we are here now in Abbotsford, and we flew across the world last week, and we were in Johannesburg and Cape Town, and 100+ drummers came out to each clinic, drummers and teachers and stuff, just to hang out with us. And it was just like, it's super humbling
Yeah.
and amazing. The fact that, 20-ish years ago, we started doing this, and now I'm somehow led to that. And it's quite incredible. And so it's the power of the internet. And I'm just happy that we kept on going,
I know.
pushing through. Dave's not even listening. I know while he's typing.
No, I know what he's talking about. Something or other.
What song should I play?
Hypnotized.
Let's click in that one.
Yeah. You got one going?
One sec. One sec. I kept missing this cymbal by like 1 inch. So just go like this.
Yeah.
Pull her over a little bit here.
We blame Peisty for Jared missing his cymbals.
You should have made this
What are you thinking?
18-inch crash, this thin crash, which sounds beautiful. You should have made it 18 or 19 inches.
Yeah, you should have made it 19. Here's a question for you, Jared.
Yes.
Ready for this one? Strap yourself in. This one's from Glass. He says, I'm going to start using my EAD10. Would it be more useful to get a laptop or the iPad? The tech seems there for both, but I don't know.
The laptop or an iPad? Well, I don't even know if the app works on iPad. I think you have to have a phone. So does this camera work, Taylor?
Yeah.
Dave, can you tell me if you see it?
Okay, one sec here.
'Cause I don't see I won't be able to see a preview, but this is the. Yeah, let me see. Turn this up. Yeah.
We'll be on the TV in a second here. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
You guys, give it up for Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor is
My
in the
goodness.
house.
You guys.
Taylor.
You guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the app. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, I use this every single time I practice. And so all of my recordings and stuff that I do, like here the other day I was doing, oh yeah, check this out. I was doing this jam on the what do you call it? The A and F drum. And check, right here, check this.
This is Drumeo Inception here.
Check this, check this. Wait for it. The head broke. You can't see it really, but maybe that wasn't enough payoff. But yeah, the head broke.
Crazy.
On the drums. That's my first drum head ever broken. But as I was saying, this is the stuff in there, the songs that I've been practicing. And then I basically go to the music. I can record with no music. I can record with all my iTunes music. And here's some playlists. I go to my drum tech tracks. And here are all my tracks. And then I can easily just hit record. So, you know, like a... So it tempo maps it, it beat maps it, and then I can practice it. Or then I can hit record when I'm ready to record and set it up wherever.
Yeah.
So
You don't need a laptop
you don't need a laptop.
or an iPad.
Yeah, you don't need an iPad. What you do need is I think it's an iPhone camera cable that does not come with the AD. So you need to get an iPhone camera cable, which is like, out here it was like $70, but they're probably cheaper in the States. But you should totally get it if you're looking for an easy way to record yourself, just because it's relatively inexpensive. You don't have to get all the mic set. The drums sound good. They don't sound as good as like someone like Taylor could make them sound in the studio. Even here we don't have the toms mic'd up, but I'm sure he's got something going on which still sounds better than the EAD would. But what can I do at home in my practice room? Right?
Totally. We all love the EAD here.
Yeah.
There's review in Drumeo for you as well, for those with some steps on how to use it. So if you're an Edge member, which you are, go and check that out.
Yeah.
Musa, remember the guy who came to our Johannesburg clinic? He had a question for us, but he didn't write it down fast enough. Well, here we go. Jared seemed to be more gentle on the toms during the Johannesburg clinic. Is that because you play the drums in studio often now? Or are you just adjusting to the levels of the room and the size of the venue?
The toms. A lot would depend on the music I was playing. I didn't get to play a lot of the music that I was going to play because my laptop has an issue where it doesn't output the right and the lefts properly. And so a lot of the tracks that I had prepared weren't able to be used. And but it could just be an issue of the miking. I know I in that clinic I was just using the EAD on stage. That's all I was using. So a lot of what you're hearing was coming through the ambient mic on the EAD, but that sound system was absolute trash in that room, and they couldn't even use the trigger on the EAD. They couldn't use a lot of the bottom end, so you were not likely to get a really solid sound in that room other than what was coming off stage. And toms compared to the snare, it's like no comparison. Toms compared to the crash cymbals, no comparison.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, that room had the smallest little speakers, so we're trying to keep the
Well,
volume
the sound system was trash.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another question, and for those on YouTube, welcome. I am answering the questions from the Drumeo Edge members first. Here's one from
We'll get to some YouTube as well.
Yeah. From Jestrick. He says, do y'all have plans for more blind sound tests like you did with cymbals and snares? Not only were they fun videos to watch, they were pretty eye-opening. I actually use that process now when picking out drum gear because my eyes and labels can cloud one's judgment.
Yeah. We just did one for practice pads where it's based on feel, and that was to kind of show how our practice pad is so noticeably different. And obviously that's because I play on it more, but we just trying to showcase the difference between the types of rubber and the feels that they make, as well as the sounds. But we're going to continue to do that kind of stuff throughout the coming years and whatever. We always like to show you, almost like I'm not saying uncover the truth. Like everyone knows that you like certain brands for whatever reason, even if another brand sounds good. But it's nice to actually like check ourselves and see how loyal we are to the brand as opposed to the sound.
Yeah. Well, I like how you said it, a lot of people hear with their eyes,
Yeah.
and they'll see like a kit that's a beautiful finish, and like that kit sounds so good.
Yeah.
When if they close their eyes, and they wouldn't have no sound difference between the two.
Exactly.
And you did a lesson once where you had a Franken kit. It was like all
Yeah.
different toms on there, and you couldn't tell like if you were to close your eyes
Yeah.
and just listen, you wouldn't know that there was a Tama tom, a Yamaha tom, a Ludwig tom.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff.
Especially in the studio, right? Like a lot of the sound that when we do shows, we process it. So right here, we're processing the sound, we're sending it to you. You're getting, no matter what, you're gonna get a different version of the audio that's right here sitting at the kit. You're gonna get something that's compressed differently on YouTube, differently on Facebook, and that's gonna alter the way it sounds for you. So that's why a lot of times you'll see on our videos, our YouTube videos, like, oh, that snare sounds like crap. And then the next comment will be, that's the best sounding snare I've ever heard. And the next person will say,
Yeah.
those toms sound like garbage. The next
I
person will
know.
say, those toms sound incredible. How do you get them to sound that good?
Yeah.
And that's because the sound's being processed. And in most live venue cases, even if you're on stage, you're putting mics in the toms, it's being processed, being put through a system. They're adding reverb, they're EQing the drums and stuff like that. But the only real true sense of whether or not you like something is right here.
Exactly.
So you listen to us do those. I'm listening to the room. I'm not listening to what you're hearing. That's
So
a really important distinction to make.
Big time. It's
Yeah.
always hard to do tuning lessons for that matter too, because
Yeah.
you're like, well, how do I get my tom to sound good? Well, good is so subjective, and you're spinning lugs, and the room that you're in has a huge difference. I'll never forget when I bought my first kit from Jared. The bass drum sounded so good in the room that I tried it in your little shed there. And then I got it back to my basement and it sounded like trash. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I spent days and days and days trying to figure it
Does
out.
it sound flat, like not as boomy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I took it to a gig and it sounded incredible. And that's when I realized, okay, it's the room that I was in, right?
Yeah, totally.
Troy Boy 21 says, hey, Jared, have you ever gotten kicked out of a venue during a show?
Kicked out of a venue. Who you guys think I'm like a bad person or something?
Yes.
I have never gotten kicked out of a venue.
No?
I've only place I've ever got kicked out of was when I was lots younger and I went to a football game and I was spraying silly string at the camera guy. And they kicked me out.
Yeah, kicked your
It
kid
was a
out?
church event.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was so embarrassing
That's
for
so
our
good.
youth pastor. We bought silly string and we were just spraying the camera guy. Like now I look back at that, I'm like, what an idiot I was.
That's great.
And I almost got beat up on the way out because some guy was mad that he got lumped in with us as well. And he got kicked out.
What kind of friends were you hanging out with?
Oh man, I don't know.
You were a troublemaker.
Troublesome crowds.
Deuce of Hearts, how's it going, buddy?
What's up, Deuce?
He says, what's the best way to learn how to not bury your beater? I can't seem to figure it out.
Well, why? I mean, Dave buries the beater all the time. He's got a great bass drum sound. Todd Zuckerman always says, like, what does he say? He says, let's think about your favorite music and the favorite drum sounds. Were they burying the beater? I don't know. I'm not trying to discount it, but So when you play heels up, I know we don't have a foot cam here, right?
That'll work.
That's fine. So when I'm playing heels up, naturally my foot is going to make the beater rest on the head. So I generally make it a habit to keep my foot down, my heel down, and then when I want to hit the bass drum, I bring my heel up, hit it, but then instantly put my heel back down. And so it is very much like you're developing habits. And you really, I wouldn't say don't play with heels down. If you're likely a heels up player, play heels up, but really practice not keeping your whole leg lifted, but resting your heel on the footboard in between strokes, even if it is for like a split second, but you have to really practice getting the weight off. If you try and hold your leg up the whole time while keeping the beater off the head, you're literally suspending your leg while doing that. So you have to actually rest that in between. And that's what I do. I don't know if you can see it in the overhead. Man,
Yeah.
does everyone like these 15-inch hi-hats? Do you like them?
I didn't want to say anything. I love the 602s, but I don't like those ones. I don't know why.
do you out there? Do you like these hi-hats? I'd love your feedback on how they sound recorded.
Now, just to go back to the burring of the beater and talking about blind tests.
Yeah.
There was a time where this was such a huge topic, and everyone was talking about it. And I remember going live with multiple drummers, and we did a blind test for Drumeo, where we had the camera just be the top half so you couldn't see the foot, and we went back and forth from burring and not burring. And it was me, it was, I think it was Josh Dion, there's a bunch of other drummers that did it, and no one could tell the difference. Now, granted, it was a rock setup. We have Steve Lyman in there with an 18-inch open bass drum for jazz. You'd hear the difference there, but for rock, you couldn't hear the difference.
That's the thing, right? A lot has to do with tuning as well.
Yeah, and muffling.
Yeah, and muffling.
See, Roger says yes. Yeah, they sound good. Nuts. Talking about the hi-hats here.
I think they sound chunky.
Cooper said they sound amazing, actually. Yep, they sound good. Yes, no one has said no yet. I love them. Just a little mismatch with your modern kit. This is from Miguel.
Oh, okay. Definitely don't really work the same for a swing feel, but I'm not a swing drummer.
I think it's the edge. The bottom one's kind of waffled. Like
Yes,
it's
but
got
that's
an
what's
edge.
called sound edge.
Oh, that's why.
It makes it chunkier.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I get it though. We have a set of 17-inch sound edge, and those things are like, you either love it or
Yeah.
you hate it.
Yeah.
And I think you're on the hate side.
I'm on the hate side. Yeah. I like a nice thin a hi-hat.
You
Here's
like
one.
13-inch hi-hats?
I have a set of 13s.
What does everyone here play?
Caves.
13s, 14s, 15s, or bigger?
Yeah.
What does everyone here play? I would be interested.
Thomas
interested to
Pridgeon
know.
did a set with 19s.
Yeah, 19s. Well, I've played with 24s.
Sonar Sam says the 15-inch Pisces sound good. Is that what you use? Are you using the 15s?
These are 15-inch sound edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them.
You like them?
You like them?
See, that surprises me though.
Oh, that does surprise me.
I like them.
Yeah.
Taylor, you're hard to please. Hate him. Randy Coyne says hate him. Hey, I like your honesty, man.
Finally,
Yeah,
someone who hates them.
Finally, so okay. Matthew says I play Pisces 13-inch signature sound edge as my main and 17-inch 2002 sound edge near my ride. Nice. The majority.
17-inch.
Yeah, sound edge near his ride.
That's cool.
More-
I once did that. I love that. I love that sound.
The majority of people here are saying 14s. Andrew Hall said 22s.
Yeah,
Send me a
right.
picture. Send me a
him
picture.
a picture. Send Taylor a picture and he'll post it up.
When Thomas Pridgeon
Taylor
was
at drumeo.com.
when Thomas Pridgeon was out playing the 19s after he left me and I can't think it was Victor. We put 22 rides on our hi-hats. Sounded terrible, but it was fun. You know how we did
The
it.
hi-hat is so spongy.
Yeah, Miguel says I also play a set of 15 vintage
Nice.
normal 602s.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. Here's a question for both Dave and Jared. This is from Tion.
Tion.
How many goals do you have currently? Do you have a limit? Do you try and have a limit at the same time? Goals.
Yeah, so here's the thing. When I work on stuff, I generally am working towards one specific project or two specific projects. And so right now I'm working on another lesson pack. I'm working on playing with a Dave Matthews tribute band or something like that, whatever you want to call it. We jam like once a month-ish. So I'm learning some of that tunes. And then I'm just doing my normal like practicing every night. I'm really working on my soloing. I added my rototoms to my kit. I added a few other auxiliary stuff, like you saw that 4-inch snare. I'm trying to just create something different because a lot of my playing is on my own, and I like to try and make it as interesting and more musical and less like focus less on like the chops, because I can go around the kit quickly, but I want to focus less on that and more on like how can I create something that sounds appealing to someone that maybe doesn't even play drums, but they're still interested to listen to it because it sounds musical. And I think certain guys have done that, like Terry Bozzio, but obviously not everyone loves Terry Bozzio's music. Like not everyone's going to love my drumming, and that's just the way it is. So
Absolutely.
So I work on around 3 things at one time, and then I just figure out, okay, what are the next 5 steps or 10 steps, and I just start at step 1 and just make my way through it.
Yeah, love it.
What about you?
I had a goal that I'm almost finished actually, which was to learn the majority of the AC/DC discography. I just joined an AC/DC tribute band, so it's been it's easy drumming, but it's deceptively hard to not overplay, to not play too much. And when there's so little going on with the drums, every time you miss a certain shot or a crash, everyone notices.
Yeah,
So,
right?
Yeah.
This is going to sound hippie, but if you draw a circle, in the circle there's nothing in it, it's perfectly clean.
Yeah.
And let's say you filled it all in. It would look like, okay, that's like a colored in circle.
Yeah.
But if you draw a circle and you just put one blemish in a random spot,
Oh yeah.
everyone's like, what is that? Why is that there? What does that mean? And it's like AC/DC
Totally.
playing AC/DC is like that. And so it's harder to just keep it a circle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit.
No, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Other than that, I've been trying to get back onto the pad, getting my sticks back into play, just like what I guess you could call it the Tommy Igo's Great Hands for Lifetime Workout Challenge that I gave myself. I'm trying to go through something like that again. And piano. Trying to learn a lot of piano. So yeah.
Dave, you look a lot shorter than me in the video.
Yeah, I know this table is just discount table.
Dave just hates this table.
Hate this table.
Dave and these tough. Don't put your fingerprints on it.
Don't put your ride cymbal so close to my freaking
It's
face.
not a ride cymbal.
You're right. It definitely isn't a ride cymbal. Yeah, in these tough times, I'm stuck with this desk.
This tumultuous time we're in, and now you have to. You're really like struggling over there.
I'm struggling.
with your MacBook Pro
Yeah,
on a crappy table.
exactly. Here's a question from Zhao.
Zhao?
He's great. He came to them. He's come to our
We love
VIP
Zhao.
weeks. He's a great dude. He says, so Jared, how much money did you make selling your kit or Dave's first drum kit to him?
Honestly, I made, I think $700.
I think you sold it to me for $22.50 or
Oh,
20.
then I bought it for $700. So then I made like. I didn't know him at the time. Okay.
Yeah, you
now
did.
I'd give him a deal.
Yeah, you did. Hey, you know what though? It was an 8-piece.
It was a great kit.
It was an 8-piece Yamaha Silver Sparkle, Yamaha Maple Custom, and it was the Japanese Maple Custom. It was so nice.
You don't make your money when you sell. You make your money when you buy.
Yeah, you made your money both. I don't have no regrets buying that kit.
You
In
know
fact,
what?
I still have it.
If you're a drummer and you love drums like I did, and I still do, obviously, but back in that day, I was maybe 18 or 19 years old, and I was trying to like figure out a way, how could I earn money? What can I do for a job? And so what I did is I was really into like just flipping stuff. And so I posted ads on Craigslist and said, drums wanted, we'll pay cash. And I went to people's house and they had this thing which was either passed down from someone else or which they literally just wanted out.
Yeah.
They're like, just like,
Get
and I
rid
could
of it.
tell like they just wanted out. So I'm like, well, I'll give you this amount of money, and I got kicked out a few times. But it's like Pawn Stars, right?
It's just like
It's
Pawn
worth,
Stars.
No, it's the
Best
the
I could
expert
do is
says-
$700.
The expert says it's worth 10,000. Well, I'll give you 300.
Yeah, it's gonna sit on my shelf for a long time. And
we once, as a joke, we.
what's this?
So
Spit it out.
some guy had he had this like he was like a hoarder. He had his whole house was filled with drums. I go there, literally the basement, in the kitchen, on the kitchen table, up the steps. There's drums up the steps,
Yeah.
hardware everywhere, cymbals everywhere. So I look around at it, and I'm like, he's told me what he wants. He said he wants something like $6,000 or $7,000. And there's a lot of like Ludwig Vistalite stuff and a lot of old stuff. It's like, I have to piece this all out, right? Like, I mean, I have to, just like Rick, I got to like package it. I got to put it on the floor. I got to polish it. And so I offered him $1,500. And then he just like literally kicked me out. He was so upset. And then I was like 10 minutes away, driving away, and I got a call.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, yeah, I'll take it. And I'm like, yeah, well, how about 1,000?
No, you didn't.
Because we had already driven away. We had started thinking about how much work it was, and he was asking way too much in general. So then we got it even cheaper because he just wanted it out. I think his wife is like, get this stuff.
So good.
But it
You
needed
said
one-
no to 1,500. You call that guy back right now. You get him to come back.
Exactly. It was like there's like a vintage Slingerland, which was all pitted. I had to redo that one, and there's a lot of stuff that needed a lot of work.
Yeah, no
So,
doubt.
yeah.
Okay, there's tons of questions coming in. I'm going to ask you one more, then I'm going to get you to play a
Yeah,
song.
do it.
Here's one from Fred. My man,
up,
Fred.
Fred?
He says, question for you both. How do you guys fight boredom or feeling stale when you get to the kit?
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
a really good question, Fred. And to be honest, I don't know if I have the answer for you. I know, like the other night, I was playing, and I went in, and I'm like, ooh. I told my wife, I'm like, that was a terrible session because I just sounded bad, and I wasn't really into it, and it felt very much like, okay, this is part of my routine, so I'm going to do this now, and I did it, and then that was it. So I didn't really fight it. I just did my 30 minutes and went in. Other times, I'll just play music. That's kind of my thing. Is if I'm bored, I'm going to play music.
Yeah.
And I find that so many times, like us drummers, when we go to our kits, we kind of group it into one area, which is practice. I'm at my kit. I'm by myself. I'm going to practice. When we go play a gig, okay, now we're playing, right? Whereas I think we as drummers need to be comfortable with going to our drum set and playing and literally just having fun, right? And so it's the difference between like getting a Lego set and following the instructions and building it exactly as they have described it, and going and getting a big bucket of Lego and just building it. Every once in a while you'll build something and it'll come out like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it'll come out really bad. And that's the thing with just playing, you're just kind of experimenting. You never know what you're going to get. And so for me, it's like I have to play music in order to kind of get out of the funk there. Mm-hmm. And some new music is good too. Something very different, I find, always kind of sparks new stuff in me.
Agreed, yeah. For me, whenever I find things, I don't practice stale, boring, monotonous stuff just
Yeah.
in a room on my own.
Right.
I do that stuff in front of the TV, watching the hockey game,
Yeah.
especially if it's pad work, or even like if I'm working on like triplets, bottom triplets, I'll do that in front of the TV where I have a distraction, so because that can get stale. But I try also not to go and practice if I'm feeling like it's going to be stale and mundane, because I want to enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Be inspired.
Be inspired before you go and practice. I always found those were the best practice sessions I had. There were many times before I had my own place with a drum room, I would have to drive to the Yucca studio, which is about 25 minutes away from where I was living at the time. And there were times where I would get halfway there and I'm like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. I know I'm going to go there, I'm going to have to force it out, and I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to get much out of it. So I would just turn around and go back because it wasn't worth my time. Now, in saying that, sometimes you have to just push through it. Everyone's different, Fred. But you don't get bored playing the drums, man.
Oh, I think sometimes we all do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you could just punt it and just be like, yeah, I'm bored, so I'm just going to do boring things that I know is going to help me in the long run.
Yeah.
You know, I listened to some guy on some world famous CrossFit guy. I was watching a documentary, and he says he wins every single year. And everyone's like, "Are you on steroids? Are you on steroids?" He's like, "No, I'm not on steroids." And they're like, "What's your secret? How do you win every year? You're like in your mid 30s. There's 23-year-old, 24-year-old. He still just dominates."
Really?
And he says, what he does every day is he goes down into his basement where no one can see him, and he does the stuff that he hates over and over again. And it's this repetition on doing things like doing the hard work. So when he gets to that big stage, that big gig, he gets all the notoriety, he gets all the fame, he gets all the people wondering how he did it. And the thing is, one of these quotes that I love is you never compare your backstage to someone else's front stage. And his front stage is what everyone sees him doing in the performances, but his backstage is like, the guy is just working his butt off, like insane. He's essentially just working harder than everyone else. And so a lot of times success comes with doing that type of hard work that no one else is doing to that level.
Yeah, because it's the hard stuff that everyone stops doing. They just want to do the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I look at a guy like Eric Moore or, Alex Rudinger, who's coming in actually next week, and hopefully he
Apparently,
comes in.
borders just got closed.
No.
Well, if my wife texts me, I shouldn't say anything.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Positive focus. Anyway, I talked to Alex, and I'm like, "What's your routine?" And he told me, and I'm like, "Man, that's a lot." He puts in so much so that he can get that recognition as a supreme drummer. And it's you got to have the willpower to do that.
Yeah, not everyone can do it. Some people I like to go biking, but I'm not going to ever be a world famous cyclist. I just that's totally the way it is. I'm totally happy with that. It's a great hobby. I'm having a good time. I like fishing. Same thing. Never going to be a world class fisherman, but I love doing it and I'm fine with that.
Question.
What's that?
Is there such a thing as a world-class fisherman?
For sure.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's a
there
sport,
is.
dude.
Is it?
It's a sport.
How fast can you
What do you
cast?
mean?
Okay.
You know,
Just
your technique on reeling in,
I
and
felt it was more just like a something you did.
No, dude, fishing is a sport,
Okay.
but it's also a hobby for some.
play a song, Jared. Play us a tune. That's too funny, Taylor. This is something you did. You fish.
Taylor, you've never fished before, though, have you? You've never fished.
I haven't caught too many fish.
I fish. I was a terrible fisherman. Booyah! That little 5-stroke roll thing through, or that was it a 6-stroke roll that you were doing on the ride cymbal there? All I heard was drums, and that part, that part I really, really enjoyed.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you're sounding good. Someone asked who's got more chops, Jared or Dave. I think it's pretty obvious. Jared's got some pretty tasty.
Dave whips out his double pedal and it's game over.
It's not just that.
But every time he whips out the cheater pedal, that's it.
Cheater pedal. We were in the clinic and I'm like, is there going to be a double pedal for it? We were sharing a kit and he's like, no. I'm like, well, then I can't do my No, it's all good. Tons of questions coming in, guys.
Awesome.
I'm glad we're doing this. Everyone's saying we should do one of these once a week again. It's it's bringing it back to the old times, man.
We are doing a lot for the Drumeo Edge members. It is the Drumeo 8th birthday month right now, and so we have like an amazing special on if you wanted to enroll. It'd be a great time. I know a lot of people were like, well, we have more time to practice because we're going to be chilling inside, right?
I know.
So if you want to come join us inside of Drumeo, the plan is to do a lot more of these this year and just kind of reconnect on, even if there's like one person in the live thing, it's really cool just to like say hi, what's up?
Yeah, and a lot of times, if there's not a lot of questions, we'll just jam, and then it's just a fun time to hang with drummers.
Totally.
Now, like, I was actually, one of our transcribers, he was in Italy,
Right.
and he was chatting with me. He's like, dude, I can't even leave the house, and all I have is time to drum and to transcribe for us.
Right.
So he says he actually enjoys it. He's getting tons of work done.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he doing all the songs?
Yeah, Sergio. Sergio's.
Hey, members, you're in for a real treat
Yeah.
coming up here.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of songs for you.
Don't give it away.
Don't want to give any more away. Here's a
Just
question.
basically gave it away.
Yeah. Not really.
It's like he did. So we were working on this thing in South Africa, and we're like, okay, we'll go on stage. We don't want to give too much away, because we don't know really what's going to happen yet with this. And then Dave, at the end of the thing, just gives it away, like literally. And then Tommy's like, Dave, what are you saying?
I'm like, I don't want to give it away, but it's going to be this, but I don't want to give it away.
He just told people exactly what it was.
Afterwards, Tommy's like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because, jeez.
Here's a question for you and me, Jared. It is from
You,
Jess Strickland. Which Drumeo drumming guest were you most surprised by and why? I already know mine. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Gergo Borley.
Gergo Borlai.
Gergo Borlai.
Should start by pronouncing his name right.
There was a disclaimer at the beginning where I said any name I pronounce. Gergo, I never had heard of before. And he was...
Ron Dennett recommended him.
Ron Dennett brought him out. And when he came, I believe it was 2015, so Gergo his English was just getting there.
Yeah.
So it was hard to have a conversation with him. I couldn't really figure out what he was going to be doing on Drumeo. I had never really seen him play before. And then he, like the universal language of music, he just sat behind that kit and my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
When you said most surprised by, that guy surprised me,
Yeah.
I think, more than anyone else we've had on Drumeo.
I'll say a few people. First was Antonio Sanchez. His drumming is incredible.
Yeah.
The way he can improvise and create. But also, he had just won a Grammy, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he came out and he was just like super chill.
He was
It's like,
such a nice
fine.
hang.
Like this guy is just like exactly the opposite of what I would thought someone who'd have ego, who'd been, he was just coming off of that too.
Yeah.
And so I was super surprised, and he's still like, I don't see him that often, but he's a friend of Drumeo and a friend of mine. I really like hanging out with him. Another guy I would say was one of the original, actually maybe was the first, is Larnell Lewis.
Yeah, no, you're right. He was
Yeah.
so surprised.
He was
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of him before that, and then they brought him out from Toronto, and then since then I think he's been on Drumeo now 4 times.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one in the 4-time club. I don't know
Pat
if anyone,
Petrillo's got to be more,
yeah, maybe,
but he's got a bit of a different role.
yeah.
Yeah, you might be right. Larnell's come out, I
Maybe.
think, the most.
But yeah.
This is before Snarky Puppy. This is like he was teaching at Humber College, and I think Sean Brown got us
Yeah.
wise to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Matt, there's some like the very famous artists like Gavin Harrison was such a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
And that he came out here and we were thinking, you never know what we knew he was meticulous in how he does things. He wanted to mix the stuff but then he came here and he literally just was like an open book and just like willing to share whatever.
Yeah.
And Dave, you worked with him closely, and I think that his content turned out so good.
We had one course planned, one live lesson, and we
Yeah.
ended up doing 4 with him.
Yeah,
Not
those are
only
in
that-
Drumeo. If you guys have a membership.
Not only that, the first day, it was a Sunday, we were setting up his gear, and I broke his Porter and Davies throne. And I'm like, that's it. I'm like, the whole shoot's ruined. He's going to always hate
Yeah.
Dave and Drumeo.
Why? Don't blame him.
It wasn't even a break. I just dropped the fuse switch or whatever to go from 220 to 110 because it's from the UK. And no hardware shops were open, and it had a certain screw. I ended up figuring out, I fixed it, everything was good. But throughout the whole process, he's like, don't worry about it. That stuff happens, no big deal. And he was trying to help fix it. So he's such a nice dude,
Yeah.
more so than anything.
Todd Zuckerman, also one of our best friends at Drumeo here.
Yeah.
Todd is great because I hadn't really known a lot about his playing other than through the drum scene, right? Methods and mechanics. But to see him and how hard of a worker he is and what he does on a daily basis. Like, you know, so many of the guys and girls that have come out, I don't know if there's a lot that I have complaints about. Everyone always asks us, like, well, what's the craziest story you have about artists? And I'm like, I don't know, they're all like really cool.
Yeah, and the ones that we can, some we can't tell you. Those are the ones that you probably want to hear. No, I'm just joking. There really isn't. Senri Kawaguchi, she surprised me quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've seen her videos before,
Yeah.
but being in the room where this girl is playing that loud,
Yeah.
you just do not expect that from someone like that. And
She's sass. Because she's a girl, Dave?
no, because she's 80 pounds. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or guy. Like someone who's that
Just
small.
joking. Don't get all defensive.
Dude, I'm getting all hot and bothered here. Turn the heat down there, Taylor. Question from Christian Lano Fernez. What kind of drum throne y'all use?
Oh, seriously, the worst one right now. It's just hurting my butt. It's like, whatever this is,
What have I got?
I do not recommend it.
Oh, that's the Yamaha. No, is that the
No,
Pearl?
it's not. Oh, it's a Pearl Roadshow, but it's like sitting on a piece of concrete.
I'm
Seriously.
on an airlifted tractor rock and sock, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, Bobby, you're comfortable.
Hey man, I've got to sit on this crappy desk. At least give me a nice. Anyway, he asked, "Do you have any recommendations?" Well, not that one. Apparently, I really like the Yamaha or the DW Airlift.
Yeah.
It's got a nice
Okay,
backrest.
it's bouncy though.
A little bouncy.
It's like this. It's like
It's like this. This is the
you
rock
don't want
and
that
sock.
when you're playing.
Yeah, maybe not. What do you recommend?
I don't know, but I would say if anyone wants to create a custom throne, I have a good idea for a custom throne, but I need a partner who's experienced in creating hardware like that. So if I would love to chat with you more. One thing I've done, there's this company called Drum Art out of Italy, actually. And they create this throne cover. It's a gel cushion, similar to like memory foam, but I think it's a little bit different than that. And it slides over thrones like this. And what I find it does, and what they say it does, is it distributes your weight in a different way, and it kind of forms to your butt. And it gives you more of a stable feel, but you're not getting like I have bad lower back, and this thing is amazing. So they sent it to me for free, so full disclosure, I didn't pay for it, but I would have, and I will buy another one for Drumeo for here. So, what are you reading?
I'm trying to keep up.
Okay.
Here's a question. Here's a question from Gino Wayne Harden. Says, "Hey Jared,
What's up, Gino?
I have a 14 by 14 floor tom that's real flat no matter how I tune it
Really?
or what head. Any suggestions other than kick it?"
Wow. What I would say, what type of drums it is? Drum is it? Are the other toms also flat? How much are you experimenting with changes in the reso head? Because I think a lot of the tone and a lot of like the resonance is going to come through how you choose to tune that. And so I would try things like tuning the top head lower and the bottom head, the reso head higher. Try it. Then tune them evenly, see how it sounds. But spend a lot of time doing it to figure out where you're at. And then try and tune in the top head higher and the reso head lower. But I don't know why it would just be flat. I know I've had a few like 12-inch toms in the past that I haven't been able to get, or 13-inch toms I find really hard to tension as well. But they sound good. Now this is a G2 coded up here. This 14 has a G14, which is basically a 1-ply 10 or 12 mil head. And so it's essentially supposed to give you more roundness because there's not as much plies. You can tune it up a lot higher too. And then the G2 coated on the bottom. I don't know why there's G14 on here. Maybe just because we didn't have a G2 in stock. Sound good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Jim in the chat says, or the question says, hey, you guys should get a Carmichael throne. Todd Sigerman uses one. It's great.
Tried it.
We have one. I didn't really like it.
Tried it. What I found is when I was sitting on it, I would feel my back like shift to the right and the left. And I know I don't have a super strong back, but it felt like things were moving and I didn't like the way it felt. So I stopped using it and I don't use them anymore. I'm not saying it's unhealthy. It could be my unhealthy back using that throne, but I don't like the idea of having a big slit cut in my throne.
Questions about the Paiste cymbals you have here. One of them is, what's your favorite line of Paiste? You use Paiste all the time. What's your favorites?
The Paiste cymbals that I love are the Masters line, the dark side. I find that they're not overly dark. They're not like so crazy where they're only good in certain musical situations. These ones I think are in between on the brightness scale of being, they're more mild when it comes to whether dark or bright. They're kind of more in the middle and more level. These are beautiful. So these are the Formula 602. The Modern Essential ones are also good, but I find them a little bit brighter, a little bit more stick sound, especially on the ride cymbal, a little bit less wash. More mid-end, these are more high-end. And then the Signature Traditionals are very bright. They're beautiful looking cymbals. But I find I wouldn't necessarily want a whole set of them on my kit. I've done it before when I was at Paiste, if you watch some of those videos from the documentary. Whereas I would have a whole set of these because I feel like these are really well matched. Now this one is kind of interesting to me. It's a paper thin. And I don't know how good of a sound you're getting out of it, but. Over here, on this side, this is an 18-inch and it's heavy. So I never even knew they made like light or heavy. So this is a thin crash, this is a medium, this is a heavy. So thin, medium, and then heavy. So beautiful, beautiful cymbals. You get a nice wash. They sound really, really good all paired together. I'm missing two splashes. I've kind of got addicted to two splashes in front.
Yeah, you usually have one tucked right there.
6 and 8 inch splash.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you know who Babe Winkerton is?
No.
No? Winkleman, sorry. Babe Winkleman? No. Taylor, do you know who Babe Winkleman is?
No.
No? He's a world-class fisherman. He's one of the. Kyle
There we
Radomski's-
go, Taylor.
He's like come on, he's got his own TV show. It's world-class.
He was my favorite fisherman growing up. He was one of my. He's like the Buddy Rich of fishing.
There you go.
I've actually wanted to start. I thought, okay, during now until I'm like 60, 65, so another 20 some years, I do Drumeo because I'm drumming and everything. Then when I'm starting to get, my back is sore and stuff, I need to start fishio.
Fishio.
So later
man.
on in life, I'm going to be doing fishio for those that are wondering.
All right. That'd be interesting. Fish education.
I would travel the world and fish. I would take my friend Jeremy Wade from River Monsters,
Yeah. And you go.
and we do fishing education.
There you go.
How to catch a catfish.
We live in an area where there's world-class fishing right in our backyards.
Yeah, it's true.
We're very lucky.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you from this one I'm going to YouTube for.
YouTube.
Stack Haas says, hey, any suggestions on how to make odd time sound funky?
Well, what I was doing in the last song, I think that's something I first heard Vinnie Colaiuta do, I believe in the song 7 Days, which is actually in 5, which is super confusing because you always think it's in 7. But if you're doing like 7/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 5, 6. It's an odd number, so what I like to do is something simple, just move the right hand between the bow of the ride and the bell. Other than that, like when it comes to the techniques, there's little things you can do, little things that you saw in there, but they're not necessarily exclusive to odd time, right? Like the double, the quick little double in there, a diddle. So little things like that. I find the smaller details are some of the most important and some of the coolest if you can do them right, but they're really, really hard to kind of get them right. And so that's one little thing.
Very cool. My big thing is don't crash on the one every time.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's hard not to, but
So there's a song, I wonder if I have it here, where I actually wrote the song for that specific, I didn't write it, but I got someone else to.
think about it this way, while you're finding that, in 4/4, you rarely crash every one. You crash every 4 bars. So why in odd time do drummers immediately go to crash 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, crash 2, 3, 4? It shouldn't happen that way. Try to phrase just like you would phrase if you're playing regular 4/4.
So I'll show you what I'll do. This is a song from Kaz Rodriguez. He played it in his drumming lesson.
Nice.
Where it goes 1, 2, you'll hear the click. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, do, 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 do. And it goes da 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 da. And then I'll try and do the kick on 1, the downbeat, but then count 2 or 3 the next bar. So you kind of make it into a 2-bar pattern. Can I play it?
Let's do it. Are you gonna play the whole song?
I can.
Go, play the whole song. Nicely
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. I mean, it was not a perfectly executed performance.
But Cass songs are tricky to do.
Yeah,
you know?
I find the biggest thing with his tunes is the drums really guide the dynamics of the song. It's what I'm learning more and more, and I appreciate his stuff way more
Yeah.
as I play it more. You know, I played that song a few times now, and so every time I play it, I'm like discovering different things, different places you can like push the dynamics or add more or add less, and it sounds really, really cool. So yeah, check out Kaz Rodriguez on social if you haven't. Please. for the
Every
love
time
of
I do
Pete,
this, guys.
For the love of Pete,
come
why are you such a
on.
hand talker?
Come on, I'm a hand
Stop
talker. I
being
like
such
to
a hand
I like to
talker.
make fire, you know. I was gonna say the nice thing about Cass is every song he does, he always releases drumless versions of them.
Yeah.
Because he's a drummer, and so if you like any song you hear from him,
Yeah.
they're drumless versions.
By the way,
on.
he shared the thing about how he got the Groban gig.
You gotta tell that story.
Yeah, well,
This
I don't
is-
know. You know more than me, but
Yeah.
I haven't finished the whole podcast yet. But if you haven't listened to the Drumeo Gab podcast with Seamus Evely, Seamus has now been doing it for almost 100 episodes. I think it'll be probably
Been over a year now, yeah.
by the end of this year, it'll be 100 episodes with us. He did the first 100. It was called Drum Gab. Then after that, we kind of asked him to help out with the Drumeo podcast. We called it Drumeo Gab. Now it's the official Drumeo Gab podcast, and he's interviewing the best drummers in the world. And Kaz was on it, and Kaz told the story about how Josh Groban
Well-
said to his manager or someone, he showed them his Drumeo lesson,
Yeah.
right? And said, that's the drummer I want to get. Let's get him.
Yeah.
And then, like months later, the manager or whatever musical directors came to Josh Groban and said, hey, have you seen this drummer? We should get him to be your drummer. And it was the same video. By Kaz Rodriguez. And then Josh Groban's like, what? That's what I told you like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so,
And it goes even deeper than that. Like Kaz started messaging us back in like 2012.
Yeah.
Gotta come to Drumeo. I'm like, yeah, we'd love to, just not yet.
Yeah.
Now's not the time. I think 2015 or 2016 we had him out, and then that all started this whole thing. Now he's drumming with Josh Groban. So check out that podcast. It's pretty cool to see that we had some sort of involvement in that, and we didn't even know it was like we had no idea that was going to happen.
yeah.
Here's a question from Jao again. He says, hey, any tips, Jared, for me to take the plunge into teaching? I don't want to limit myself to beginners, but I'm aware that I'm a slow learner. I'm apprehensive that I might not be able to keep up with my own students in areas I'm not super comfortable with. Tips, ideas, anything I should know?
Don't be afraid of not being able to keep up. If anything, that'll be the motivation for you to practice even harder, okay? Because if you have a student that's nipping at your heels and almost better than you, it can be the fire you need to just get better, because you don't want to be embarrassed in a lesson with him. There also is a time for you to say to your student, it's time for you to go take lessons with someone else and recommend them someone that you know will do a good job. I would say start with beginners and start with just 1 to 5 students, somewhere in between there, while you're kind of getting you're kind of building out how you teach. What is the methodology you put your students through? What questions do you ask them? You have to get better at this. This is very much an art form, the art of teaching. Mm-hmm. And the more you do it, the better you become at it. And the more you do it, the more creative you can start to do it. And so I really recommend you just starting, but don't go crazy when you start. Start with just like 1 to 5 students and start and really figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions you guys have in the Drumeo members area, let us know. We're going to be here for a little bit longer as well.
Yeah, a few more minutes. We'll go for another 10 minutes-ish.
Yeah, sure. Play us another song.
Yeah, good.
Play us another tune, man.
Oh, my goodness. We'll take a few more questions after this, and we'll... man.
The internet's going wild, man. Got a couple last questions for you.
Okay,
But
3
are
more
you-
questions.
Are you going?
3 more questions. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just standing up.
Well,
This-
because you stood
the
up,
the stool is hurting my
I'm
butt
going to ask you a hard question then.
because the stool is so hard.
Because the stool's so hard. Actually, there's quite a few hard questions here. But
Well, give me the hard ones.
Okay.
Just as long as it's not like, hard.
I'm trying to find it now. Everyone just was chatting.
Give me the hard
Can you
balls.
play a
no, I
polyrhythm
can't.
that sounds good? Can you teach us a polyrhythm that sounds good as a groove?
Polyrhythm, polymeter.
You know what? I'll go for either or.
I like the 5s, man. I did 1/7 in there.
You did 1/7 in there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4, 4. You can argue it's a polyrhythm, polymeter, 5/16.
Conflicting rhythms. Though.
It's 5/16 over 4, 4,
yeah.
or 16/16 against 5/16.
But you can do 3s. I honestly don't do that much.
You could do the 4 against 3, doon, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Quarter note triplets on the ride.
Yeah.
Doon, 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 doon.
You know what I think I like is 16th note triplets. Let me just figure it out. That's a left-hand lead. It's really simple. Left-hand lead, 16th note triplets. And then offset on the bell. Josh Traeger shows me. It's cool. Groove.
Yeah.
I think it's Vinny.
But you messed up because the second half of that question was, can you guys show me a polyrhythm that sounds good in a groove? No, that one is a little choppy there, bud. A little choppy there. I'm just bugging you about it. It sounded great.
It's fine if it sounded bad. It's not my forte. I'm comfortable in my own strumming skin.
Here's one for you. This is from Heckenkecker. Heckenkacker. Great name. Which bass drum technique is best for a beginner, or should one just focus on, or is there one that one should focus on when you're starting?
Try and hit the bass drum without like doing any ghost notes, and try and just have full control over the bass drum beater. So yeah, learn heel up, learn heel down, and don't really worry about much beyond that. As you get into some intermediate grooves and stuff, you'll want to learn how to do the quicker double, and then you can choose to kind of whatever's more conducive to your natural movements. I know Dave moves towards the slide technique. I move towards heel toe, although I've been with this pedal because I find it so hard to pull the double out of it.
Which pedal is that?
The Pearl, because it's really loose.
Oh, yeah.
So I find I do a blend. You can't really see it because the light's here. So it's always changing
Yeah.
based on the pedal and the situation.
You know, when we designed the Drumeo method, the one thing I've learned from teaching and doing Drumeo lessons for so long is you sometimes can't choose a technique at your beginner stages, and it's not actually recommended to, which is why we're in level 3 already of the method, and you haven't been told about the slide or the heel toe because you're not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, so as a beginner, I just say like exactly what Jared mentioned. Focus on playing the bass drum without getting any extra ghost notes.
In time, focus on time and feel and sound. these are really important things. I know as a beginner, all we want is to play fast and impress our friends, and that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with wanting to play fast.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people say about that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If that's what you want, this drumming is such an individual instrument, so you need to figure out what you want and practice that. But we have lots of stuff on bass drum technique in Drumeo if you're interested.
Yeah, it's tons. In fact,
Tons. So much.
Gil Sharon just did a whole course on walk before you run. It's all about bass drum technique and his approach. He's got killer feet. You know, we've had some of the world's best drummers talk about their foot technique inside of Drumeo. So it's all there.
Hey,
for
one more
ya.
question.
One more question. Can you please show how to play an Afro beat from Majestic?
No. I
No.
don't know what that is.
Afro beat. Okay, so one other question. Last question of the day goes to, I'm going to wait for it to come in. I'm looking at you, Skype. I'm looking at you, Skype. YouTube, not Skype. I don't know why I said Skype. Okay, I'm going to ask a question that isn't one that we've taught about 150 times on already on Drumeo. This one here is, there are so many there are so many drummers, talented drummers all over the globe, talented players who could comfortably sit in for gigs like Vinny and Weckel. Why are 99.9% of us bound to fail? What a depressing question.
We're not bound to fail.
Jonathan Harrington.
I don't think we're bound to fail. I just
No.
don't think we're willing to sacrifice the same thing that they did.
Boom.
Think
Well
about
said.
that. Think about that. You don't think that it's been hard for them? Don't compare
Exactly.
their front stage, your front stage to your backstage to their front stage. All you see is what they do on stage. You don't see all the hardship and pain that they went through to get there.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
yeah. Thank you all
Yeah.
so much for coming out and being a part of this. Like I said in the beginning, we know that this is an interesting time for the entire world. And so, take some time just to play your drums, get away from it. I know that's exactly what I needed to do here today, is just get away from it. Sit here, talk to all of you, and everything's going to be okay. It's just a matter of us following the experts, flattening the curve,
Yeah.
like many of you have heard. So really focus on that, really focus on being clean, really focus on isolating as much as you can, stay safe, stay happy. If you're interested, come over to drumeo.com. There's a really great promo going on now, which gets you in our members area for a year, and you can kind of join us. I know a lot of us are going to have more time and stuff on our hands as we kind of relax for a while, and this might be a good time for you to improve your drumming. And we honestly would just be absolutely thrilled to help you.
Yeah.
So consider it, but regardless, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. And hopefully we get to do this again soon.
Looking forward to it. You gonna play us out with a song?
No.
Okay, bye-bye.
See ya.